The fluorescent lights of Harmony Creek General Hospital hummed a tired electric song at 3 in the morning. The air hung thick, a strange cocktail of antiseptic, stale coffee, and the faint, metallic tang of blood. It seemed to seep from the very walls of the emergency room. Rain lashed against the windows, like a desperate prisoner pounding for release, and down the hall. A heart monitor beeped, a steady, anxious rhythm. Emily Carter stood at the nurse's station, her scrubs rumpled from a brutal double shift, dark circles painted crescents beneath her hazel eyes. At 32, she'd spent 9 years within the walls of this small-town hospital, witnessing the endless parade of life and death through its doors. Her engagement ring, a simple diamond Josh had scrimped and saved for 3 years to buy, caught the harsh light as she meticulously updated patient charts. The wedding was just 4 months away. Every detail meticulously planned. Everything. Perfect. Then, the doors exploded open. Now, before we get too deep into this, if you're a believer in kindness, second chances, and standing up for what's right, smash that like button, drop a comment, and share your thoughts. And tell us where in the world you're watching from, because this story is a powerful reminder that humanity still shines, even in the darkest corners. 2 men, bruised and battered, half-carried, half-dragged a third man into the ER. The guy in the middle was a towering presence, easily 6'4", his arms a canvas of intricate tattoos that vanished beneath a blood-soaked leather vest. The red and white patches were undeniable, even through the gruesome mess. Iron Riders. His face, pale as death itself, eyes rolled back in his head, and a growing stain of crimson blossomed from his abdomen, his hands feebly clutching at the wound. The men supporting him were just as imposing. Beards, leather, chains, a facade of hardened exteriors cracking under the weight of raw. Stark panic. He's been shot. One of them croaked, his voice thick with fear. Rival gang, ambush, came out of nowhere. Emily reacted instantly, her training taking over. She was already moving, barking orders, calling for Dr. Brennan, directing them toward Trauma Room B. The man. He would soon learn his name was Duke, was barely clinging to consciousness, his massive frame trembling violently on the gurney as they frantically cut away his blood-soaked vest and shirt. The bullet had torn a path of destruction through his side, nicking something vital. Blood pooled beneath him faster than they could possibly replace it. "We need more O-negative," Emily called out to the lab tech. The response sent a shard of ice through her veins. "We're out. The delivery got held up because of the storm, but we've got, maybe, 2 units left. 2 units. That was a drop in the bucket. Duke was bleeding out faster than that." She watched Dr. Brennan work with frenzied determination, desperately trying to stanch the bleeding, but the man's vitals were plummeting. The monitor wailed its ominous warning. 30 minutes, maybe less. Emily glanced at the 2 bikers, standing frozen in the corner, their rough-hewn faces collapsing with something akin to terror. She looked back at Duke, this complete stranger, this man with the menacing insignia and the fading pulse. She thought about the wedding, about Josh, about the life she had meticulously planned. Then, she rolled up her sleeve. "I'm O-negative," she announced, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. "Hook me up." Dr. Brennan stared at her. "Emily, you can't just donate during your shift. There are protocols. You'll be too weak to keep working." But Emily was already sitting down, extending her arm toward the phlebotomist, who had materialized with wide, disbelieving eyes. "Just do it," she urged. "He's dying. Protocols can wait for the next 45 minutes. Emily sat in a chair beside Trauma Room B, watching her own lifeblood flow through the clear tube into Duke. She felt the dizziness wash over her in waves, a bone-chilling cold seeping into her fingers, but she remained steadfast, unmoving. She watched the monitors stabilize, watched the color slowly return to the big man's ashen face, watched Dr. Brennan finally step back and declare that he would pull through. Duke regained consciousness 3 hours later. Emily was still there, pale and drained, but resolutely there. His eyes found hers, confusion clouding his gaze at first. Then understanding dawned as the other bikers explained what had transpired. "You," he rasped, his voice a guttural rumble like gravel grinding against steel. "You gave your blood for me." Emily managed a weak smile. "Just doing my job." But Duke shook his head, a fierce and solemn light flickering behind his eyes. "No, not just your job." He reached out and gently took her hand, his calloused palm enveloping hers. "What's your name?" "Emily. Emily Carter." Duke nodded once, deeply. A silent vow etched on his face. Emily Carter. "I won't forget." He was discharged a week later, walking out with his brothers, leaving behind nothing but a plain card, bearing a phone number, and 2 simple words: "Thank you." 4 months slid by. Emily almost forgot about that night, or rather, relegated it to the dusty corners of her mind, buried beneath wedding plans, dress fittings, seating arrangements. The hospital had restocked its blood supply. Duke was a fleeting memory, a strange anecdote she occasionally shared at dinner parties when asked about her most memorable cases. Then came her wedding day. The ceremony was a vision, a quaint little church just outside of town, bathed in the soft glow of candlelight and adorned with fragrant white roses. Josh stood at the altar, tears glistening in his eyes as Emily floated down the aisle. Everything was perfect. The vows, exchanged with heartfelt sincerity, the tender kiss, the moment they were declared husband and wife. Everything Emily had dreamed of since she was a little girl. The reception was in the town hall next door. Emily and Josh had just finished their first dance, when a shout erupted from outside. At first, Emily mistook it for thunder. Then she realized the sound was too rhythmic, too steady, a deep, primal rumble, a growing, earth-shattering roar. Guests surged toward the windows. Emily navigated through the crowd, her flowing white dress trailing behind her, and stepped out into the sun-drenched afternoon. Her heart froze in her chest. Motorcycles, hundreds of them, gleaming, powerful Harleys lined the entire street, their chrome glinting in the sunlight, engines idling with the low, throaty purr of some colossal beast, leather vests everywhere, red and white patches blazing under the summer sun, and at the front stood Duke, beside his bike, looking stronger, more imposing than she remembered. Silence descended, broken only by the idling engines. Josh appeared at Emily's side, his face a mask of confusion and growing unease. "Emily," he whispered. "What is this?" Before she could answer, Duke began to walk toward her. His boots made no sound on the grass, but his presence filled the air like a gathering storm. Behind him, over 400 riders stood at unwavering attention. "Emily Carter." Duke's voice boomed, carrying across the stunned crowd. "4 months ago, you gave me something that no one else would. Your blood, your time, your compassion, for a stranger who most people would have left to die." Tears welled in Emily's eyes, threatening to spill over. "I was just doing my job," she managed to stammer. Duke slowly shook his head. "No, you saved my life. And in our world, in our family, that means something." He gestured to the ranks of bikers stretching down the street. "Every single one of these men and women is here today because of what you did. Because when word got out that Duke would have died without you, they all wanted to come, to show you that kindness never dies." One of the Iron Riders stepped forward, a woman with gray-streaked hair and kind eyes. He carried a large envelope and a smaller box. Duke nodded to her, a silent acknowledgement of the bond they shared. The woman smiled at Emily, Her smile lines deepened around her eyes. "We heard you and Josh are trying to buy a house," she said, handing over the envelope with a warm gesture. "Consider the down payment. Handled." Emily opened it with trembling fingers. Inside was a check. Her knees almost gave out. It was more money than she and Josh had saved in 5 years, combined. A lifetime of sacrifice suddenly made easier. "And this," Duke added, taking the box and opening it carefully, "is something from me, personally." Inside was a silver charm bracelet, each link intricately engraved with tiny motorcycle designs, symbols of freedom and loyalty. On the central charm, the words were etched clearly, "Our blood runs together." Emily could not hold back the tears anymore. They streamed down her face, ruining her makeup, and she did not care. Josh stood beside her, stunned into silence, while around them 400 Iron Riders began to clap, a thunderous applause that shook the very air, a sound of solidarity and gratitude. The reception that followed was unlike anything Harmony Creek had ever seen. Bikers mixed with wedding guests, sharing food, drinks, and stories, forging unexpected connections. Children rode on motorcycles in the parking lot, their faces lit with pure joy. Elderly aunts danced with tattooed men, who turned out to be surprisingly good dancers, breaking down stereotypes with every twirl. Someone brought out a guitar, and one of the Iron Riders played folk songs, while others sang along, their voices blending in a chorus of celebration as the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. Duke found Emily one more time. She was sitting alone for a moment, watching the chaos with a smile, a peaceful oasis amidst the jubilant storm. "You changed my life," she said quietly, her voice filled with emotion. "I was just trying to help someone." Duke sat down beside her, his massive frame somehow making the garden bench look like doll furniture, a gentle giant in a world that often mistook kindness for weakness. "That is the point," he said, his voice low and gravelly, but filled with sincerity. "You did not see a biker. You did not see a criminal or a thug or someone dangerous. You saw a man, dying, and you gave yourself to save him." His voice softened, almost a whisper. "Our family does not forget, ever. If you need anything, anything at all, for the rest of your life, you pick up that phone." He stood, nodded to Josh, who had appeared nearby, a silent acknowledgement of their shared responsibility, and walked back to his brothers and sisters. Minutes later, the engines roared to life, a symphony of power and freedom, and 400 motorcycles pulled away into the twilight, leaving behind a wedding that would become legend. And before we end, we have one special request for you. Comment below with the words, "Kindness runs in my blood," to show that you stand with Emily. Because sometimes, the smallest act of compassion, given in the darkest of moments, can return in ways we never imagined. Remember, you never know whose life you might save, and you never know how that life might return the favor.